Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we are going to be looking at the Gilded Age and what exactly is the Gilded Age. It is, according to Wikipedia, it's a period of time in the United States history in the late 19th century, from roughly 1870 to 1900. And this term Gilded Age was popularized by Mark Twain, and I'll just click on this here. And so this period roughly from the 1870s to the 1900s, and the term was derived from Mark Twain's 1873 novel, The Gilded Age, A Tale of Today. Which basically just talks about serious social problems masked by a thin gold gilding. The Gilded Age was an era of rapid economic growth, and you basically had the rise of these the robber barons, and it was just a derogatory term for unscrupulous businessmen. And you got the John Astor, William A. Clark, a lot of prominent people, but you saw the rise of extremely wealthy people like Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, Morgans, of course the Astors, this William A. Clark. So in essence, the Gilded Age, the part I want to be looking at today is with regards to mansions. And what happened is all of these newly minted millionaires back in those days, the story goes that they all decided to go crazy and start building mansions. And they loaded those mansions with like fine art, and they basically, for social status, they wanted to mimic what was going on in Europe, so they designed all their mansions like to mimic mansions you would see over in Europe, with a different style: French, Baroque, and Gothic, and neoclassical, all these styles you find in Europe. So that's the story. And how I kind of got tuned into all this is that about a month ago I did a mud flood video looking at Fifth Avenue mansions, and it turns out there's this thing called Millionaires Row on Fifth Avenue, and a lot of these mud flood mansions were on Fifth Avenue. And when I was looking at photos for these these free energy fireplaces, a lot of them came from these mansions. You have your two devices, you got your plate, and see, this is how you know this wasn't designed to be these are just token logs. But I was looking at a lot of these fireplaces, and they were all from this period that we're told, this is all from the United States, we're told that these fireplaces were from an era called the Gilded Age or the Gilded Era. So I think I had heard that term, but I didn't really know exactly what it meant. So this is a library of J.P. Morgan. So yeah, you want a fireplace that burns wood by all these books, right? But so as I was looking into that led me to look up what this Gilded Age was. And as soon as it talked about this period of time with all these rich people building mansions, that's when I knew that something was up. So let's go on a journey here. Let's take a look at some of these mansions. So Andrew Carnegie, right? world famous. He builds a huge mansion, and it's not really noticeable in this photo, but when you let's close that out. When you go over and take a look at the black and white photo here, what you're going to see, this is the entrance. The entrance is going to this floor. There's a floor below the entrance. So see this wrap around here? There's a window right behind here. So this whole floor is below the entrance. And these stairs go down, they come down and around here to this, well, probably what was ground level, and it might even be lower than that. But I'm pointing this out because this is a mud flood mansion. We didn't build this. So sure enough, if you try and look up schematic, actual photos of the construction, keep in mind, this is from 1903. You cannot find construction photos of this building. And there's literally a museum now in this mansion. So you would think they have the, they have the photos of the construction of this thing. But, we're going down the timeline. This is on their cooperuit.org timeline. And, okay, 1898. It says that they purchased a plot of land and they're showing you where it is. So, okay, things are looking good. 1901, the Carnegie Mansion is designed. Okay, cool. Here it comes. Oh, it's already complete. It's completed. What? 1901, the garden design, to 1902, it's completed. Oh, gee. So, yeah, just get used to that pattern for the rest of this video. But what's interesting to me too about this mansion is there's this awesome blog. It's called DaytonInManhattan.blogspot.com, and you can search by keywords, which comes in real handy. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, please check it out. But they got a write-up of this mansion, and they're talking about there's somebody, a composer and a musician. He would come to the mansion every day, and exactly at 7 a.m. he began playing music on an organ. So what I'm finding is a lot of these mansions, they have these organs incorporated into them, which makes me really wonder what's going on, because a lot of churches obviously have organs and they have those portholes, and I can't tell if there are portholes in this building, but just something of interest. Yeah, so basically, oh yeah, it was a wonder of up-to-date technology, and purified water. It's nice, steam heat. So all of these mansions, which are mud flood, they're always like, high tech, right? Compared to the rest of what was going on at that time. So let's move on. Let's close some tabs here. Let's take a look at this John Jacob Astor mansion. This is Millionaires Row, 5th Avenue. And hopefully you can kind of tell what's going on here. You got your mud flood building. And again, what was also going on at this time is all of these millionaires were just loading up on paintings. And in a future video, I think there's a deception going on with Renaissance art paintings as well, but for another video. And again, like, you got the two devices, and would you put a painting again? Like, this is how you know it's not, there might be some logs in there, but you're gonna like have a full-on fire with a painting right above and all around, like priceless stuff supposedly. But you can see the architecture is just, it's out of this world, right? And as we scroll down, I mean, this is what it's like in all these mansions. And you got your two devices. We got to put another painting up there. Couple devices, some token logs. And I think there's probably a clock here. They love putting clocks on their above their fireplaces. But yeah, so this is just another example of a mud flood building, and we're told this Astor built it, and this one gets demolished. As the Carnegie Mansion, by the way, is still in existence. It doesn't get demolished, but this one gets demolished in like 1820. Oh, sorry, 1924, 26. Right around right around 1824, 25, or 26, it gets replaced by this building. Let's move on. Okay, so Clark's Folly. So one of these robber barons, William A. Clark, so he was a senator and apparently made his money with copper. He decides, this is a good one too, he decides to build an equivalent of today, what would be a $200 million mansion. And again, you're going to notice the weird windows. They're like, the work's been done on this bottom level, and you got these entrances going down. And this building's got the portholes, right? And what's really wild about this, I think there was a clock in here, but you got your plate back here. They took the two devices out. Okay, so the house was, it took 14 years to construct this house. Roughly 200 million inflated dollars, today's cost. So 121 rooms. Again, they love loading this stuff with collectibles, right? Collectible paintings. And oh, this one's got two of these devices in it. Okay, so they started construction in 1901. Construction finished in 1913, I think it was. And it was demolished in 1927. So it stood for roughly 27 years. And they spent 200 million. They spent 200 million on it, roughly. Yeah, see, that just doesn't sound right, does it? The demolition of the William A. Clark. That was loud, sorry about that. William A. Clark House, 5th Avenue. Yeah, just 16 years after its completion, in 1911, it was demolished. It took 13 years to complete, and 16 years later, you demolish it. This is how you know that there's a cover-up of history going on. Not only is it a mud flooder, but then that whole story, that doesn't even make sense. And what I also wanted to mention is this building with the portholes. An organ loft housed the largest chamber organ in America. Yeah, it was, oh, look at this, high-tech for its times. Electricity, central air. It had a private subway line, 121 rooms. At least they got bathrooms in this one. But check this out, this organ. This, I'm still looking into this, but this is, there's something with these structures and these organs, but and the organ was apparently torn apart and dumped into a swamp in Queens. Like, why do they always do this kind of stuff? Like giant bones and organs. Yeah, so, oh, look at this too. It was sold to this gentleman in 1925 for the equivalent today of 40 million. So he spent 200 million, sold it for 40, and got rid of it 16 years after it was completed. So, and it was replaced by this. So you could just see that the Gilded Age, the part of the Gilded Age where you have these newly minted millionaires just building crazy mansions, that is a cover story. Because you have to explain, why do you have all these crazy architectures, like these buildings that look like things in Europe, but United States is supposed to be relatively new. So how do you explain it? Well, you need the whole myth of these new elite, right, to account for these mansions. Because you can't burn everything, like obviously all the great fires, but for whatever reason they left some mansions lying around. Cornelius Vanderbilt, look at this, the windows buried in the ground, stairs going up. We're told he built this. He did not build this. There's a fireplace with this metallic plate, and they took away the two devices. Oh, this is good. Because Vanderbilt wanted his home to be finished quickly as possible, he gave the builder 18 months to complete it. 600 workmen working around the clock. Thousands of people watched the construction for a year and a half, and there's no construction photos of this. Thousands of people, a multi-millionaire. Oh, and by the way, this mansion too, this mansion that was torn down after 16 years, and it cost 200 million. There's no photos of this being constructed. The Carnegie Mansion, the first one we looked at, no photos of it being constructed. The Vanderbilt one, this Vanderbilt one, no photos of it being constructed. Mud flood. The previous two, mud flood, and this one gets demolished here. 1926. This one gets demolished. By the way, this is Cornelius Vanderbilt II. Hopefully you guys recognize that hand gesture, the hidden hand. But he's supposedly the guy who built this. So I think these elites, I don't think like they just randomly became, the head of copper magnet, banking magnet, whatever else, railroad magnate, oil magnate. I think they're placed in those positions, and it has something to do. You probably had to belong to some kind of bloodline or fraternity to be appointed. I believe it's all appointed. So just let's take a look at a few more. Another mansion on Millionaire Avenue, Fifth Avenue, or Millionaire Row, Fifth Avenue. You got, of course, here we go, in the ground, stairs going up, mud flutter. Another millionaire supposedly in 1889 supposedly built this. And again, two devices in the fireplace, metal background. So they got the free energy fireplaces, and they look like the things, palaces and mansions you'd find in Europe. And just scrolling down here, but yeah, this was the Vanderbilt mansion mentioned in the last tab there. But yeah, this mansion gets destroyed in 1927. Moving on, George Eret Mansion. You can tell windows here, stairs going up to this level. And this guy was a member of several leading German societies. I don't know, I just highlighted that. This building gets replaced by this. In what had become a tradition in New York, the neighborhood of elegant homes This one was leveled after only 50 years. Well, not surprising. Moving on. The Lost. They always like to say that. The Lost Mansions. A.T. Stewart Mansion, Fifth Avenue again. You got windows below here. Stairs moving up here. Completed in 1855, so I wouldn't expect any construction photos. But oh, the previous two, by the way, again, this mansion, I looked, there's no construction photos, and this one, there's no construction photos. And here we go with this one, and again, they all have these rooms where they just collect all this art, and I think there's a purpose behind that, and it's not just because they like to collect art, but I'll go into that in another video. Yeah, so just more of the same. Demolition in 1901, and it got replaced by that. And let's see, just a couple more here, guys. Lost Jacob Rupert Mansion, stairs going up, and you got your little windows below ground. And construction began. It was completed in 1883, and I believe this is it over here. I wish I could see a close-up of these like houses. They all look like they're below the ground level, but I can't get another photo of this. I mean, but you look in here, you got your devices here for the fireplace. I mean, it was just all these places. They needed an excuse to account for all these mansions. Like, and the Gilded Age is a perfect cover, because America was definitely becoming industrialized, and you had like factories and all these kinds of things. So it was happening, but tucked into it, there's this whole lie about these mansions and the elite. So was there anything else? Okay, yeah, just here you can see it's a mud flutter, and it was this one was I believe the structure itself was torn down in 1925. 1925. So a lot of these are torn down between 1920 and 1930. And we'll just look at one more from New York here. The Lost Mary Mason Jones Mansion. And I think there's a better, well, it's pretty impressive. Again, with all the art. Yeah, here you go. See, there's this whole, there's windows, stairs going up to this level. These are all windows going down. And portholes, all these portholes. I wonder if this place has an organ. But, you know, you guys get the picture, and it got replaced by this. So, what I also wanted to look at is, it's not just in New York where these mansions are. They're all over the place. St. Paul, Minnesota, there's this James J. Hill House, and it's completed in 1891. So right in that Gilded Age era. And of course, inside this house, you got one of these crazy organs. So it's very interesting. Not sure what to make of it right now, but this is just the exterior of the house, and you got stairs going up, and you have the ground levels a little bit shaky. You've got windows, trailing into the ground, and but it's just this house. This is a mansion basically in St. Paul, Minnesota, and it's just this one's actually still around, and you can take tours in this one. Yeah, so that's pretty impressive. But let's see here. Let me close some tabs here. Little too much going on. I can't even. Oh, that guy. Okay. 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 Closing out. Closing out. Okay. Oh. Okay. So, Chicago. In Chicago, they had their own version of Millionaires Row, Fifth Avenue. They had something called Prairie Avenue, and one of the mansions in Prairie Avenue was Marshall Field Mansion. This is the same Marshall Fields that has the department store in the United States. And there were a bunch of millionaires who were all living on this Prairie Avenue. And I'm just highlighting this particular mansion because it's a mud floodor. You got all the windows here. This is ground level, and you got stairs going up to this level here. The home was torn down in 1955. Here's a better shot. It's to be razed, which is demolished basically, as an economy measure. And of course, the mansion was the first Chicago home to have electric lighting, and the public were barred from the structure. That's nice. So it's in Chicago too. Like, it's all over. It's not just New York. New York is a pocket of a lot of these structures, but they exist in Chicago, all the big cities, and even Detroit. Now these don't look. I mean, the windows are a little suspect, but even without looking at that, you've got these crazy mansions. This is in Detroit, and both of these are destroyed in like between 1900 and 1910. And the Boeing house here, this is the same. The Boeing aerospace guy, I think it's like the second biggest defense contractor in the world. He was born in this place, and they still tore it down. And I mean, just look at the architecture. So I guess what I'm saying, just to summarize it all, is that this whole Gilded Era or Gilded Age is a cover story. As far as the elite, this newly minted group of millionaires going crazy and building mansions everywhere and like making them look like European style mansions, and that is just a total lie and cover story to account for why they have all these mansions. That's all it is. And I was gonna actually do a whole another part to this, talking about buildings and like hotels and other buildings, but Flat Earth British did an awesome job. He was on a chat, Sun and Moon group, I think, that channel. I'll leave a link to that if you want to hear about buildings that, particularly in New York, they're covered in this whole Gilded Era too. We didn't build those either, but Martin breaks it down great, so I'll leave a link to that. And I just wanted to add one more thing here. In the 1850s, Toronto, there were some photographs taken, and I know other people have showed how desolate the cities were in the 1850s. Like, I think London, I've seen, presentations of how there was no one walking around in the cities in the 1850s. I think London, someone did one from Russia, but this is going to be the Toronto edition. And I just wanted to show you these pictures were found. And we actually have two people here and a person here, but it's just mud streets, nice architecture, hardly anyone here. Not a lot going on. You don't see any tons of buildings, but there's supposed to be roughly 300,000 people in Toronto at that time, or at this time, or sorry, yeah, at that time, but it was a lot smaller as well. So like, look at just absolutely barren, devoid of life. It is kind of eerie, isn't it? Not a lot of people, and here's just some rooftops, but there we go. There's a couple people here in like a horse and buggy, but just like it goes on, and there's just almost nobody on the streets. Again, and what's interesting about these intersections is like they have planks laid down so that people can actually cross the road, because it's all just dirt. But tons of structures, very little people. It's almost like they were dug out. Again, another thoroughfare here, nobody. And I think I see like a buggy and just a lot of emptiness, no people. And again here, like nice structures, like who's building all this stuff? And you got these walkways and just a bunch of dirt. This is pretty interesting when you look back at it. Again, dirt, the walkway up here, and there's I can't see anybody. I'm not sure if that's a person there, but very few people, tons of buildings. Nothing, nobody. Another walkway, that might be a cart or something, but there's no people. And someone's reconstructing this church, but I don't know, that might be a person down there, I'm not sure. But like not many people. This is virtually a gang back at this time. I mean, that's as many people as you're gonna see. Like I'm surprised there's that many actually. So I just wanted to throw in the Toronto version of this. Desolate cities, basically Toronto style. So I think I'll just leave it here, but I'll leave some links in the description. And yeah, so everything's pretty much a lie, guys, and I'm on board with this short time frame. Starting from 1850s, it seems like we started. I don't know how people got reintroduced to the cities, but it seems like that's kind of when it started. And all of these mansions that we were talking about today, those are all, in my opinion, based on mud flood evidence, based on there's no photos of the construction, based on they have these free energy fireplaces in them, and they look like the old civilizations in Europe. I think we didn't build any of them. There was one big civilization. There was a cataclysm. Some of these buildings survived. They burned tons of them down, but they left some, so they had to explain it. They had to explain the ones in the United States. So, because the United States is supposed to be a lot newer, and you can't have these really old buildings, right? Or mansions or whatever. So, thus comes the Gilded Age story. And it's a great story. And I think Mark Twain, I don't think it's an accident that Mark Twain has a book about it, Yeah, Mark Twain's novel. I have a feeling he's one of these culture creation guys. So, okay, I've talked enough. So I'll leave it here, but thanks for watching. And until next time, bye.